It is about that time. Marvel Rivals has a lot of backstory for each character with Easter eggs for characters that may join the game in the future and storylines that may be explored in later seasons. It is a lot of reading, so I am here to catch you up so you can keep playing the game. Welcome to another episode of our Marvel Rivals lore series, where this time we learn how King T'Challa, the Black Panther, became a rival. And we are covering Black Panther on this episode because it was suggested by Benjamin Bishop in the comments of a previous episode. So if you'd like to suggest who we cover next, simply leave a comment here on this video, or you could join our Discord server where we have a channel where you could do the same there as well. Also, if you would like to watch videos early or just want to support the channel, consider becoming a YouTube channel member. You get a badge next to your name, you get access to emotes, early videos like I just mentioned, and on top of all of that, becoming a YouTube channel member means that you might start running like a panther if you really want to. I believe in you. And with that, welcome to Chapter 1, Silence Among the Stars. King T'Challa was gazing upon the intergalactic empire of Wakanda. T'Challa has been doing his best at leading the Wakandan ideal, connecting progress with tradition, science, and magic, but he's not perfect at it. T'Challa is standing in the Hall of Jallia, listening for the ancient voices, but there were none to be heard. T'Challa could not even hear the goddess that chose T'Challa to be the Black Panther, Bast. But maybe it makes sense that it's silent. I mean, after all, Wakanda is currently at war due to Dr. Victor Von Doom messing with space and time, which is what caused the time stream entanglement. Currently, there are two Dr. Dooms from two different timelines trying to take control, and both of them wanted to work with T'Challa. They both approached him, but the king declined both offers, even though he knew that sometime in the future he is going to have to choose a side. But for right now, his side is the Wakandan people. But here in this silence, T'Challa is talked to by Bast's sister, Kalunia, otherwise known as the Betrayer. Now, she warns T'Challa of a darkness coming soon, the same darkness that has affected the Orisha. Now, the Orisha is, you could just consider it a collective of gods, and that's a collective that T'Challa is in the hall to talk to. But upon hearing this, T'Challa doesn't trust these words that are spoken to him, because Kalunia, not only is she called the Betrayer, but everybody in Wakanda does not speak of her. So he doesn't trust what she's saying to him, but in the silence, there's nothing else to really believe, because the gods don't just ignore T'Challa like this regularly, right? This has to be a special moment. This is a very special circumstance that's happening. There can only be one reason, and that might be the reason that he is being told right now. Now, while this is happening, T'Challa's sister, Shuri, calls him to talk about some developments about restoring the timeline. So then he walks into a room with Shuri and some scientists around. They all do the Wakandan salute to one another, and then Shuri asks if he was in the hall brooding again. To which T'Challa says he's not brooding, he's waiting for guidance. And Shuri hits back at him and she says, while he's off doing that, waiting for guidance, his people are waiting for him to guide them. With that, Shuri continues and says she's been gathering some data about the time stream entanglement. But then T'Challa cuts her off and says that data is not the whole story. Now, this is very ironic, right? Because he just got some data, some information potentially that could explain the situation they're currently in. But he's choosing to withhold that information from Shuri to give her even less of the story that she even knows. But then Shuri stands her ground. She says the data she has gotten tells her a lot. She has been talking with Reed Richards and Tony Stark from another chronoverse, and they are very close to a breakthrough. Now, it's at this moment that T'Challa knows that Shuri is about to ask something of him, so he invites her to do so. Shuri says that they need chronovium, but more specifically, vibrano chronovium. T'Challa dismisses the request, saying that Richards and Stark have their own supplies, and that will have to be enough. I am telling you now, brother, they will not, Shuri argues. She continues and says that it's not just something that Stark can use to get access to Wakandan technology. She has run the numbers independently, and if they have a greater power source, such as vibrano chronovium, the time stream reintegration device will be able to restore their dimension back to its proper state. Upon learning all of this, T'Challa simply says that the answer is no. Then the question is why? Shuri's like, why? If the answer is no, why are you saying no? T'Challa can't give any reason definitively, but he mentions that he has reason to believe that a darkness is coming. Shuri responds by saying that the two will protect their people from the darkness together. T'Challa, however, says that this is something that he needs to deal with alone. And then he continues. T'Challa says that they don't know enough about Vibranium Chronovium, so they cannot risk it getting into the wrong hands. Or anyone's hands for that matter, even hands that they trust. But T'Challa gives Shuri permission to further the research on Chronovium to get to a point where they could safely pass it to others. And then Shuri asks T'Challa, okay, until then, what do we do? T'Challa says he offers Wakandan allies unlimited access to Wakanda's greatest resource. This is it, Wakanda's greatest resource. Here we go. $1 billion film franchise. But other than that, it's vibranium. T'Challa is such a jokester. I love it. He just said that Shuri can't give out vibranium and then turns around and says that she can. Wait, that wasn't T'Challa's full sentence to her? Okay, hold on, let me read it over. And I quote, "Until then, I offer our allies unlimited access to Wakanda's greatest resource, you." Shuri is beyond frustrated. She was so close to getting to a breakthrough, but T'Challa will just not have it. With Shuri researching, the two dooms would have to wait while T'Challa figures out what's going on with this darkness. So then T'Challa starts walking. He's power walking. You know, he's got that Panther walk. He's like, ooh, I gotta be somewhere real quickly. He's going back to the Hall of Jalia. But before that, he stopped at a Panther statue in the center of his city, known as Burning T'Challa. He places his hands on the statue's head and he says, "Where are you, Bast?" The statue began to have a purple glow as T'Challa heard Bast speaking to him. She has been waiting for him in the shadows. T'Challa speaks to Bast, "I am at your service, and you have served me well, but you are not the only king in black that I have come to favor." As Bast said that, the sky began to dim. T'Challa looked over at the Hall of Jalia, and ebony energy began to ensnare the sacred spire. Was this a time stream entanglement or the darkness T'Challa was warned of? Either way, T'Challa had to act fast. He began to sprint towards the Hall of Jalia. The only thing T'Challa is worried about is protecting his people. And that, my rivals, is the end of chapter 1. Very, very interesting story here. We got Shuri here, who may be playable later on. I would be surprised if she's not. We now know that it's looking like Venom, Null, and Black Panther stories, those are connected. So those stories are in a different universe than the vampire universe we're dealing with Spider-Man, Blade, Iron Man, Cloak and Dagger, the Fantastic Four. That's in a different chronoverse. So it looks like Null may have some influence on Wakanda moving forward, which is very interesting. What'd you think of the story? Let me know in the comments. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. If you would like to support us, become a YouTube channel member. We would appreciate that. And with all of that said, I thank you for watching. But you have to remember, even though I thank you for watching, you and I, we are rivals till the end. And no matter how many pieces of vibranium you may give me, I will never forget that.